My wife was always glued to her phone, posting selfies, fake deep quotes, pictures of her dinner like she was some damn influencer. I didn't care much, figured it was just harmless noise. But then I noticed this one guy popping up all the time. New follower, always liking her stuff, always leaving little comments with too many smiley faces. She said he was just a fan, some random online buddy. But something didn't sit right. Our marriage wasn't perfect, whose is? 5 years in, and the shine had worn off. Melissa and I had fallen into that comfortable rut that people mistake for stability. Same restaurants. Same positions in bed, when we bothered at all. Same arguments over the same stupid shit. But I never thought she'd be the type to stray. Never pegged her as someone who'd get off on digital validation from strangers. Who's the Dark Knight 88? I asked one night, catching a glimpse of a notification on her screen. The avatar was some gym rat with too many abs and not enough shirt. Just some guy who follows my posts, she replied, snatching the phone away. Her fingers moved quickly, dismissing the notification before I could see what he'd written. He's into fitness too. Yeah. What kind of fitness exactly? I shot back. The corner of her mouth twitched, that same twitch she got when she was lying about something stupid, like whether she'd eaten the last of my cereal. Jesus, Mark. Don't be that guy. I have followers. People like my content. She said, content, like she was some social media mogul instead of an assistant manager at PetSmart who posted gym selfies and pictures of our mediocre dinners. I let it drop. Figured I was being paranoid. Jealous husband syndrome or whatever. But the notifications kept coming. Always this same douchebag, always when we were together, always making her smile in a way she didn't smile at me anymore. I started watching more closely. She'd angle her phone away when typing responses. She'd take longer showers with her phone in the bathroom. She'd stay up after I went to bed, the blue light of her screen illuminating her face in the darkness of our bedroom. One night, after a particularly shitty day at work, my boss riding my ass about quotas while simultaneously cutting my commission structure, I came home to find Melissa dressed up. Hair done, makeup on, wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. What's the occasion? I asked, dropping my keys on the counter. Just felt like looking nice, she said, not meeting my eyes. Girls' night with Jen and Kate. Told you about it last week. She hadn't told me shit, but I nodded anyway. Watched her leave in an Uber instead of driving herself. Watched her type frantically on her phone the whole time she waited for the car. Smelled the new perfume that definitely wasn't bought with me in mind. I sat in our empty apartment, nursing a beer, then another, then 4 more. The bitter taste matched my mood. I scrolled through her Instagram, noting every interaction with the Dark Knight 88. The comments got progressively more familiar, more inside jokey. Red looks amazing on you, on a post from 3 weeks ago of her in a red top. The same red as the dress she'd worn tonight. By midnight, she wasn't home. No texts explaining why girls' night was running late. 1 o'clock came and went. At 2, I heard the front door open, heard her stumbling, obviously drunk. Heard her bump into the side table where we kept the mail. I lay in bed, pretending to be asleep, as she crept into our room reeking of alcohol and that new perfume and something else, something masculine and musky that made my stomach turn. She slipped into the bathroom, and I heard the shower running. Who showers at 2 a.m. unless they're washing someone off their skin? When she finally slid into bed beside me, I kept my breathing even, my back to her. She fell asleep instantly, the deep sleep of the drunk and guilty. I lay awake, listening to her breathe, feeling my heart turn to ice in my chest. That's when I decided to know for sure. I waited until her breathing was deep and regular, until I was certain she wouldn't wake. Then I reached over, slow and careful, and picked up her phone from the nightstand. The faint smell of her perfume lingered on the case, a pink monstrosity with glitter embedded in it, like a teenager's accessory rather than a grown woman's. The screen cast a pale glow in our dark bedroom. She was dumb enough to use my birthday as her code. 4 digits I punched in, watching her face for any sign of waking. Nothing. She was out cold, one hand tucked under her pillow, lips slightly parted. She looked peaceful. Innocent, even. The sight made me sick. I went straight to the messages. Had to dig a bit. She didn't use the regular messaging app. Had some secondary one, the kind people get when they're hiding shit. And there it was. Under the name, Trainer D. Cute. Paragraphs of flirty crap. Pet names. Inside jokes. Plans. Fucking plans. Can't wait for tonight, Red. You looked so hot in that dress. Still taste you on my lips. I scrolled up, each message making my blood pressure spike. It wasn't just tonight. They'd been meeting for weeks. Every girls' night, every late shift, every workout session had been with him. I scrolled further, fingers trembling not with sadness but with rage. And then the pictures, her in lingerie, half naked, posing like she was doing a private shoot just for him. The black lace said I'd bought her for our anniversary that she'd claimed was uncomfortable. The poses we'd never done together because she was too self-conscious. Legs spread. Back arched. Lips parted in a way she hadn't looked at me in years. And him? He wasn't shy either. Dick pics interspersed with gym selfies showing off tattoos and muscles and a smug fucking grin that made me want to put my fist through the screen. I damn near threw the phone through the wall. Next to me, Melissa stirred slightly, murmuring something in her sleep. I froze, phone clutched in my white-knuckled grip. The rage in me wanted to wake her up, shove the phone in her face, demand explanations. I wanted to scream, to break things, to hunt the guy down and rearrange his face. The image of his body entangled with my wife's flashed through my mind, turning my stomach. But I stopped myself. Took a long, slow breath. Cold clarity washed over me, drowning out the hot rage. No. Let's make this hurt. Let's make it stick. Something she'd remember every time she looked at her precious phone, every time she thought about her precious Trainer D. I took another breath, sat on the edge of the bed, and began to type, pretending to be her. The words came easily, saccharine and desperate, exactly the tone she used with him. I can't stop thinking about tonight. About you. About us. I want more. I need more. I want to finally go all the way. No more holding back. No more excuses about my situation. I want it to be special. I set the location, a cheap hotel on the edge of town, the kind that rents by the hour and doesn't ask questions. Told him to bring wine, candles, the whole romance package. I'll be wearing red. Your favorite color on me. He took the bait like the moron he was. Responded immediately, despite it being nearly 3 a.m. Eager. Desperate. Planning to blow up someone's marriage and too horny to even question why the tone was different, why the plans were suddenly accelerated. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. I can't wait to have all of you finally, I wrote, adding a kissy emoji for good measure. I'll be there, Red. Been waiting for this forever, he responded. I deleted the conversation from her phone, but not before forwarding screenshots to myself. Evidence. Ammunition. Then I placed the phone exactly where it had been and slid back under the covers, mind racing with plans. Next to me, the woman I'd shared a bed with for 5 years slept peacefully, unaware that I now saw her for exactly what she was. Morning came, and with it, Melissa's hangover. She winced at the sunlight streaming through the blinds, groaned as she sat up. I brought her coffee, played the concerned husband. Late night, I said, not a question. Fun with the girls? Yeah, she mumbled, accepting the mug with a grateful nod. Got a bit carried away. Sorry. No problem, I replied, voice neutral. We all need to blow off steam sometimes. She looked up at me, searching my face for signs of suspicion. Finding none, she relaxed slightly. Thanks for understanding. Her phone chimed, and she reached for it immediately, that Pavlovian response. I watched her unlock it, watched confusion flicker across her features at the absence of expected messages. Everything okay? I asked innocently. Yeah, she said, too quickly. Just work stuff. I nodded, played along. Speaking of work, I've got an early meeting. Won't be home till late tonight. Relief flashed across her face. Okay. I've got a training session after work anyway. I bet you do, I thought, but said only, have fun. The day crawled by. I called in sick to work, spent the morning making arrangements. First, I went to a print shop, had them blow up one of the screenshots I'd taken, a particularly smug gym selfie of the Dark Knight 88, aka Trainer D, aka Derek Wilson according to his poorly locked down Facebook profile. Cost me extra for the rush job, but worth every penny. Then I hit the hotel, paid for the room in cash. The front desk guy, balding and bored, didn't even look up from his magazine. Going to be a special night, I told him, sliding an extra $100 across the counter. Would appreciate getting in early to set up. Surprise for my girl. He pocketed the bill, handed me the key card. Room 118. End of the hall. Don't break nothing. The room was exactly what you'd expect, faded carpet that had seen better decades, a bed that sagged in the middle, artwork bolted to the walls. It smelled like industrial cleaner barely masking years of spilled bodily fluids. Perfect. I set it up meticulously. Rose petals on the bed, arranged in a heart because I'm an asshole with a flair for the ironic. Battery-operated candles, because the real ones weren't allowed. Cheap champagne in a bucket of melting ice. And on the bed, propped up against the pillows, the giant blown-up photo of Derek's own damn face with the words, Homewrecker of the Year, written across it in red marker. Next to it, printed copies of their conversations. The most explicit photos. And a note, guess who knows? I set up a small camera in the corner, the kind with motion activation. Wanted to capture the moment, the look on his face. Then I left, positioned myself in my truck across the parking lot. Cracked the window, lit a cigarette even though I'd quit 3 years ago. The situation called for it. At 7:45, he pulled up in a black Audi, because of course he drove an Audi. He looked exactly like his pictures, tall, muscled, man-bun douchebag carrying a bouquet of roses and a gift bag that probably contained overpriced lingerie. Watching him walk in, all confidence and swagger, made my skin crawl. This man had touched my wife, kissed her, done things with her that I didn't want to imagine but couldn't stop seeing in my mind. I checked my watch. Melissa would be leaving training now, checking her phone, wondering why her lover wasn't responding to her frantic texts. Because his phone was currently in my glove compartment, having mysteriously gone missing from his gym locker earlier that day during my reconnaissance mission. At 7:52, he came storming out of the hotel, face contorted with anger and embarrassment. The roses were gone, probably thrown across the room. He kicked the tire of his Audi, looked around wildly as if expecting to see who had set him up. I ducked down, but not before snapping several photos with my zoom lens. His rage. His humiliation. His realization that he'd been caught. Worth every penny of the rental equipment. I waited until he peeled out of the parking lot, tires squealing like his wounded pride. Then I retrieved the camera from the room, leaving everything else as a message to the cleaning staff about the sordid little dramas that played out in their workplace. By the time I got home, it was after 9. I uploaded the videos and photos, selected the best one, Derek red-faced and furious, rose petals stuck to his shoes, gift bag crumpled in his clenched fist. I logged into Melissa's Instagram account, which I now had access to thanks to the password manager on our shared computer. I posted the photo with a simple caption, "Oops. Wrong man." Then I settled into my armchair, opened a beer, and waited. At 9:47, the front door flew open with such force it slammed against the wall. Melissa stood there, mascara streaked down her face, phone clutched in her trembling hand. She looked wrecked. Destroyed. It was the most beautiful sight I'd seen in months. "What did you do?" she whispered, voice raw from crying. I took a slow sip of my beer. "What did I do?" "That's rich, Mel. Really fucking rich. You went through my phone," she said, as if that was the real crime here. "You hacked my Instagram. You humiliated me in front of everyone." "Humiliated you?" I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. "Sweetheart, you've been humiliating me for weeks. Months, maybe. Hard to keep track of your extracurricular activities." She stepped forward, eyes wild. "It wasn't what you think." "Save it," I cut her off. "I saw everything. The messages. The pictures. Your little rendezvous tonight that didn't quite go as planned." Her face crumpled. "Mark, please, we can talk about this." "We're done talking," I said, reaching beside the chair where I'd placed a manila envelope. I tossed it onto the coffee table between us. It landed with a satisfying slap. "I may be a lot of things, but I ain't your fool." She stared at the envelope, realization dawning. "What is that?" "Divorce papers. Already filled out. All you have to do is sign." Her knees seemed to give out, and she sank onto the couch across from me. "You can't be serious. Over one mistake." "One mistake?" I echoed, incredulous. "Is that what we're calling weeks of lying, sneaking around, and sending nudes to your trainer? One mistake." It wasn't physical, she tried, the lie transparent on her face. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the screenshots I'd saved. "Read one aloud, still taste you on my lips." "Huh. Must be some new virtual reality technology I'm not aware of." She flinched, then switched tactics. "It was a mistake. I was lonely. You've been so distant." "Don't," I interrupted, voice deadly calm. "Don't you dare try to make this my fault. You made your choices. Every text. Every picture. Every lie about girls' night and training sessions. Those were choices." The comments were still rolling in on the Instagram post. Friends, family, co-workers all seeing her humiliation in real time. Her phone kept buzzing with notifications, each one making her flinch. "How could you do this to me?" she whispered. "Post that for everyone to see." "How could I?" I laughed again. "Better question, how could you do this to us?" 5 years, Melissa. 5 fucking years, thrown away for what? Some gym rat with a man bun and an Audi? She was crying again, mascara creating black rivers down her cheeks. Once, the sight would have moved me. Now I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. "I never meant to hurt you," she said, the most cliched line in the cheater's handbook. "Yeah, well, people rarely plan the consequences of their actions," I replied. "Sign the papers. I'll be staying at Dave's until you can find a new place." "You're kicking me out." "You can't do that. Lease is in my name. So is the credit card you've been using to buy red dresses and new perfume." "I can, and I am." She stared at me, mascara streaked and broken. "I loved you," she whispered. "No," I said simply. "You didn't." I stood up, grabbed my pre-packed bag from beside the door. "You have 30 days. I've already talked to a lawyer. Everything's laid out in the papers." "Mark, please," she tried one last time. "We can fix this. Go to counseling. Start over." I paused at the door, looked back at the stranger sitting on my couch. The woman I'd once believed would grow old with me, now reduced to a sobbing, desperate mess. There's nothing to fix, I told her. And I've got nothing left to give you. I walked out, closing the door on her sobs, on 5 years of memories, on the life I'd thought we were building. In my truck, I sat for a moment, waiting for regret or grief to hit. It didn't. Instead, there was only a cold, clean certainty that I'd done exactly what needed to be done. My phone pinged with a text from Dave, "All good?" I typed back a simple response, "It's done." Then I started the engine and drove away, not looking back at the apartment or the woman inside it. Some might call it cruel, the way I'd orchestrated her downfall, the public humiliation, the cold dismissal. But cruelty would imply I cared enough to want her to suffer. This wasn't about making her hurt. It was about showing her exactly who she was dealing with. I wasn't a fool to be played, a backdrop for her social media life, or a safety net while she explored other options. As I drove through the night, the weight I'd been carrying for weeks began to lift. Let her cry. Let her try to explain away the Instagram post to her friends and family. Let her face Derek and his wounded ego. None of it was my problem anymore. I may be a lot of things, stubborn, unforgiving, capable of calculated vengeance, but I ain't nobody's fool. And I never will be again.